I think when you go into any kind of task that's meaningful, whether it's purely creative, whether it's for business reasons or you're developing a new product, I think if you actually stopped and made a list of all the hard things you were going to face, you probably wouldn't do it. You'd talk yourself out of it. So I think it's really a good trait. I'm saying in hindsight, it's kind of been a good trait to underestimate the challenge and to think more about what can be accomplished than what barriers might get in the way. I'm Bill Putnam. We're here in the studio at Universal Audio, and I'm the CEO. Well, my father started recording studios just shortly after World War II in Chicago. He realized you had to build your own gear then, or basically it was adapting gear that was initially purposed for a phone industry and broadcast. And he realized there was an opportunity and a need to make gear for the recording studio. And so that's when Universal Audio was started in the 50s. He changed its name to UREI in the early or mid-60s, sold the company in the early 80s. And then my brother and I restarted it in 1997. UREI is what it was called at that time, or everyone called it URI, United Recording Electronic Industry. It was out in the Valley. And I got a job, which I didn't realize what it was at the time, but it was matching FETs. It was selecting FETs specifically for the 1176. So there was a little tester there, and you'd drop the FET into a little socket, and a meter would come up, and it would be either blue, green, or red, or maybe orange, and there'd be a pen, a little paint pen, and I'd pick it up and put a little dot on the FET. And I think I got 50 cents an hour, and it was fantastic. They actually printed up a real paycheck. And then it kind of went to hell when I saw on the up in the lunchroom there was a sign saying that the minimum wage was $1.25. And I'm like, Dad, can I get $1.25? And the answer was no, But so I started there, and it was actually fantastic because I met a lot of the engineers, I met a lot of the fellows doing test, and so I saw a lot of that side of the business. Maybe 10 years ago, we're going through a bunch of old papers from probably elementary school. What am I going to be when I grew up? Mine was, I want to be an electrical engineer and go to Stanford, So I, veered away from that. And then there was probably a pretty crucial point in my life when I was really questioning what I was going to do. And I realized whatever I do, it had to be related to music. That was super important. And once I had that thought, I couldn't lose it. I mean, it was just like a signal. I just had to pay attention to that. And at the time, I was in grad school doing my PhD and thought I wanted to teach, which I really enjoy and enjoyed doing as a grad student. But just got to the point where am I going to be entrepreneurial? Am I going to get out in the business world? Am I going to teach? I'd been going down the road to teach, and then just one day, I think I flipped on a dime. I said, I'm going to start something. And I started thinking long and hard about what I wanted to do. And my brother and I, said, hey, let's restart Universal Audio. It had, there's so many interesting aspects to what could be done, and so many things I wanted to do that we could, get to. So we started it then in my basement, and then we grew into the garage, and then we grew big enough to be in both the basement and garage. And then probably about 2000, we got our first commercial space. So it was a small group of folks, many who are still here, who saw the very earliest days of the company. It's certainly been one of the unique pleasures or even unique blessings in my life to be able to, in some ways, collaborate with my dad in a way that I didn't get to do when he was alive. And we talked about a lot of things. We talked about technology all the time. We talked about audio technology. We talked about compressors. He was really looking forward to the day that digital was going to become powerful enough. He really saw that, but he was just, when he was operating the company, it just wasn't there. It was the real early days. And so being able to get into the digital side, having grown up digital, I think I was able to take this in a direction that he would have appreciated. So, that's certainly been important. I looked at it both as a blessing, but I won't say curse, but as a challenge, because there's that historical tie, but there's also that, overriding kind of obligation to do things right, which is the right way to do it anyways, right? No shortcuts, just do it right. But I have felt that there's something to live up to, as there should be. And so that's been a good guiding light for us.